Hi, thanks so much for tuning in. You're watching BQ Prime. My name is Alex Matthew, and this is a BQ Conversations episode for you. Now, a lot has been said over the past couple of years, in particular, about specialty chemicals and the potential that companies here in India have in that space. And one of the companies that has benefited from the various changes that are happening globally is Anupam Rasayan. And I'm here speaking with the management of the company. Joining me right now is Vishal Thakkar, the Deputy CFO of the company. Vishal, thanks so much for taking the time and for speaking to BQ Prime. The latest update, of course, is that letter of intent that you've signed most recently. And this is for an order of 2,186 crore over 5 years. Could you give us a sense of what this is about? This is going to kick in 2025, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Alex. Thanks for taking us on your channel, and great meeting you and talking to you. Yeah, we are excited about the development. And if you look at the backdrop to this development, if you look at it, that over the last 2-3 years, we have been able to announce these kind of developments, and that's mainly on account of our historical efforts that we've been putting in for the last 4 or 5 years, which is maturing now. Uh, yes, this is a 2,180 odd crores of revenue potential over the next 5 years. This is a very interesting part of this is that A, this is a fluorinated product. B, it is a product which is an AI, which is an active ingredient. So it is very precious. And also it is one of the latest products that our client has developed. So which is a fairly new molecule for us in that sense and for them as well. So from all the perspectives, if you look at it, that's a very interesting molecule. Also, what it does is it gives us a very strong revenue visibility as we go, and also it gives us a certainty and a strong EBITDA margins that we would want ourselves to be operating at. So that helps us in strengthening our position there.
Okay. Uh, so I'm glad that you set the context, but also I would like my viewers to understand how important this one order is in the context of everything else that you've been building. So, as I understand it, at the end of last quarter, you had LOIs of about 5,483 crore. This adds to that. And as I also understand, two very critical LOIs kickstart in this current quarter itself. So, you have revenue generation that kickstarts in quite a substantial portion of that total in this quarter onwards, right?
Yes. So if you are right. So last quarter we were at 5,500 crores, and today we are adding another 2,200 crores approximately. So that ends up at 7,700 crores total for us. So yes, it's a significant one. If you look at it, that's basically we are added around 40 more percent of the old kitty, or a little bit more than that, in fact. Uh, Two, if you look at it from a context of our revenue, we were at a little less than 1,300 crores for the last year. So to that extent, this gives us a very strong revenue growth potential. Even if I take 7,700 crores and divide it by 5, I'm looking at a 1,500 crores of revenue as we go further. So to that extent, it's practically equal to my current revenue. So that's the kind of demand that we can say. Yes, you rightly said that it will start over a period of time. Yes, this old contract LOIs that we have signed, of which this quarter, so this year we should be looking at around about 300 crores of revenue coming from these LOIs and contracts that we have signed over the last 2 years. So the revenue starts kicking in. Next year will be around 675, and then we go up to 900 and something, 1,000 crores. So that's the kind of ramp up that we will be seeing here, and that's really very encouraging for our growth journey.
Okay, so and this is now going to be coupled with kind of capacity addition that you've been doing. As I understand it, about 65 odd crore was spent last year to bolster that capacity. A large amount of spending will be done this year, right? Which also, can you take us through what the capex spend is likely to be in this year to help that ramp up?
Okay. So Alex, if you see, last year we had announced that we are going to do around 670 crores of capex for the next 18 to 24 months. That time we had announced, and now we should be doing it in another 15 to 18 months kind of a time frame. Balance amount, whatever is left out. Now, this will take care of three different projects. One, which will support the LOIs and contracts, and two, for the fluorination part of it. So if you look at it, one plant will be LOIs and contracts, and two more plants will be for fluorination. So put together 670 crores, which can support a revenue of around about 1100 to 1200 crores of revenue. And those plants should be in coming in from the next year's next financial year, which will help us continue the growth. The current capacity will take care of this year's and little over the next year, and then the new capacities will take it up from there in terms of growth addition.
So you mentioned a molecule, right, with the latest LOI. Am I right in assuming that this is a new molecule? Because I was reading through a few reports, and as I understand it, you currently have 6 molecules in your portfolio. You would like to commercialize as many as 10 or more in this financial year. You've spoken about the revenue potential of the LOIs, but overall for the new molecules as well, is this primarily through LOIs, or is it in your other verticals as well?
So largely, if you see, most of the products will come from the LOIs that we
Sure.
have signed, and little bit more also will come in from the other products as well. In total, you, as you rightly said, we'll be doing around 10 odd molecules over this financial year, and that is primarily going to add to the growth that we are talking about over and above my existing portfolio of molecules, which will expand its utilization to a little further level, and the sales will come. Incremental sales will come from them that as well, but the new molecules will drive a significant part of my growth.
The reason I'm asking is because you've already talked about the revenue potential through these LOIs. But I was again reading that the management has guided for a significant uptick in revenue in about 4 to 5 years' time. You're talking about the run rate tripling from this point. So you've spoken about how that ramp up will take place, but I'm trying to understand how you'll reach a triple of revenue run rate in 4 to 5 years' time.
Yeah, so that you're right, and see, if you look at it practically, 1x we get from here.
Yeah.
Another 1x is what we'll get from the another products that we have. So we have over 90 molecules that are there in our portfolio right now, which are under development. So 50 plus are developed and commercialized. Another 90 are under development in various stages of R&D. So those products itself also will continue to give us a growth. The fluorination part of the molecules that we had mentioned. So today, if you look at it, all these LOIs, fluorination will be, let's say, around 500 odd crores of revenue run rate kind of a number, and the balance will come from or 600 now with this LOIs and other 600 plus from the run rate side, and the others will come from the another molecules that are under our pipeline. So total, we should get a good contribution coming from the new fluorination over and above these LOIs signed, and new molecules over and above that we had signed over last 2 years. So you're right, current revenue plus our LOIs and contracts revenue plus new molecules, both fluorination and non-fluorination, will give us the balance part of the revenue that we have been talking about. And the number that you are talking is the kind of a number that we...
So around 3,500 odd crore is what we're talking about.
I leave it to you. I leave it to you. You do your math better than me.
but on that base, we're talking about margins also, because of the kind of approach that you have. And again, this is based on my reading. You're talking about one molecule per customer rather than a whole hog approach, which will kind of protect your margins, and 25% or thereabouts is achievable on that higher base, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, Alex. So if you look at last year, we had done a 29% of EBITDA margin. We believe that 26 to 28 is a very, very safe, defendable number that we can definitely deliver. Can we do better than that? Probably yes, probably, but we would not want to be going there and try and say that 26 to 28 we can definitely guide and say that we will be able to deliver.
In terms of...
You're right, and just what you had alluded to one point, and I wanted to just expand on that, is that typically one product, one customer is something that we really talk about, and that's key reason why we get such a high visibility and high, not only margin but high assurance of the margin. One thing is getting the margin, because in the upward cycle you can easily get a margin, but in the downward cycle you get hit by that. But typically for us that doesn't happen, because again, one customer, one product, one customer, not one customer, one product, one customer really solves that for you. That there is so much of transparency in terms of pricing and the costing mechanism that our margins are fairly protected to that extent. And
Fair enough.
that is something which is very, very interesting. That's what we have been focusing on over a bit of time, and
Mm.
that's the model that we have created, which we feel is fairly defendable and a quality business model that we feel is we are comfortable with as a management.
So, but is that going to be sustainable as you widen the kind of offerings that you have? Because as you pointed out, you've had six, but then you're going to launch 10 plus, and you have about 90 in R&D phase right now, right? So is potential or is it possible to find that many customers?
See, please understand, these are all the molecules that are being either, see, when you are into patented products
Right.
or near of products, these are the ones which are sold primarily by one customer largely.
Okay.
Look at the dossier, look at the number
Right.
of products that each company has. And see, also you as you see that as you go further, what is happening that one formulation will have more than two or one or two or three active ingredients now happening.
Mm.
Now, so we are a supplier of the active ingredients or an advanced intermediate.
Mm.
So the customers, with each of our customers, the number of products that we are doing are increasing. So
Mm.
it's not that I have one product and I go to only one customer.
Right.
That's fine. But with the same customer, I'll do three, four, five, seven. So today, if you see, my top three clients will be consuming 15 products of mine or
Sure.
14 products of mine,
Sure.
and
I
that
get
will
it.
expand.
Okay.
That will expand, and that's how we will be able to generate the growth. Because
Understood.
you are not going to look for more and more customers. You will definitely look for it, but
Mm.
the more efficient way as we go will be also mining the same customer by its wallet share and also by its number of molecules that we can do with them.
Understood. One of the areas where I think you've been focusing on improving is efficiency, right? And here I'm talking about inventory days. This has been pointed out. I think the management had tried to bring it down to 250 days, or 230 days, which you managed to bring down to 250 days. So missed the mark just a little bit. I understand that the goal is to bring that even further down. But for those that don't understand, why is the inventory days so high? And also, what is the objective in this current financial year? What is the implication on the operational efficiency?
Okay, so let me give you the basis of this, that why first in the first place our inventories will be little higher than the market, and
Mm.
why it has been little bit more higher or little higher than what we would be comfortable with, and now what we are doing about it. So one is that as you say that we are a single supplier in many cases or a primary supplier in most of the cases. Now at that level, my customer would definitely want me to hold more inventory for them,
Mm.
because if I shut down my plant or if I fail to supply to them, their plant gets shut down,
Mm.
right? Or their production supply chain gets impacted significantly. So one, I need to carry that.
Mm.
Two, I'm far backward integrated. So when you
Mm.
are backward integrated, that whole value chain, inventory or the working capital is on my books, right? If I was to do only one step process, buy from market, take one step and put it out, the
Mm.
inventories would have been little lower, or reasonably lower than what it could be. But when I'm backward integrated, let's say right from nitrobenzene to my AI, then that whole production chain inventory gets held into my account.
Mm.
So that's the second part of it. So to that extent, yes, the numbers would be on the higher side than the average. But what we had in FY22, which is 290 days, was something which we also feel that it is not an acceptable number, or it's not a normal number. It
Mm.
was a number which came in due to the Ukraine crisis,
Sure.
or your Russia crisis, however we see it on what part of a geopolitical view that we have. Uh, but that required me as an Anupam to hold more inventory on the request of customer.
Mm.
The moment that because what had happened was that the supply chain had got disrupted,
Mm.
due to this Europe plot conflict, and also due to the China zero COVID policies,
Mm.
one, and that led me to have a higher inventory.
Mm.
Now the inventory is something we will come to that. But if you look at from a risk point of view, when we were having a conversation with customers, they
Mm.
said, see, I am assuring you of the margin on the price pass through. I am assuring you of the volume of take, and
Mm.
I'm also assuring you of the cost of carrying. So
Mm.
then you should be less worried or not worried about that. But
Sure.
largely, because of of the expansion in my capital employed and my money put to use was higher, and that's where we have been requesting them to unwind that position, which we have been doing it. And that's the reason if you see in the first year in FY23, we could bring it down from 290 to 250. Yes, we could have done better. We desired to do better, but we have been here, and as we go forward, this number should significantly reduce, and we should be around 200 odd days kind of a number as we go further.
In this financial year?
In this financial, give or take 10 days on the number that side. That's what we are looking at for now ourselves.
Okay, so I think we've covered quite a few bases, and in fact, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. That last leg was an important clarification as well. But Vishal, thank you so much for taking the time and for speaking to BQ Prime.
Pleasure, Alex. That was great talking to you. Look forward to talking to you once again. Cheers.
All right, viewers, do stay tuned. Lots more coming up in just a bit.